Hello friends, I am Pallavi Khurana, your soft skills trainer. Now continuing with more common questions, more common interview questions. We move on to the next question. What is your greatest professional achievement? So for those who are already working and going for an interview where they need a change, they need to change their job, they need to change their company, they can face such type of questions. What is your greatest professional achievement? Freshers के लिए मे बी ये क्वेश्चन नहीं होगा, but this would be a question for somebody who is looking for a change. Now, nothing says hire me better than a track record of achieving amazing results in the past jobs. So don't be shy when answering this interview question. Always flaunt your professional achievement, whatever you have achieved in your previous jobs. So how do you approach such type of question? A great way to do so is by using the STAR method. So the STAR method is a very common method used in the interviews or to answer such questions. First is S starts with set up the situation. Tell the situation in which you are actually going to tell about your professional achievement. Then tell the task that you were required to complete to provide the interviewer with the background context. So first set up the situation, then tell the task which you were actually asked to do or achieve something. Example, in my last job as a junior analyst, it was my role to manage the invoicing process. So we started with setting up the situation, then telling about the task on which you were working. Now next come to action. A. Action is describe what you actually did. So what the task was and then your action, what you actually did. Then come to R of the STAR method, which is the result. That is what you actually achieved. So example could be, in 1 month I streamlined the process which saved my group 10 man hours each month and reduced errors on invoices by 25%. So setting up the situation was, in my last job as a junior analyst, then telling the task, it was my role to manage the invoicing process. Now, how would you tell your action and the result? The action would be, in 1 month, I streamlined the process, which saved my group 10 man hours each month and reduced errors on invoices by 25%. So this is the STAR method: situation, task, action, and the result. This will tell your professional achievement in a very concise way, in a very proper way, so that you can tell the interviewer in very short that what was the situation, what was the task given to you, how did you achieve the result, how did you do the action and then achieve the result. So in this way you can list your professional achievements. If there are many, you could quote the best of them, best 2 or 3 of them to show your greatest professional achievements. Next question could be, tell me about a challenge or conflict you have faced at work and how you dealt with it. Now in asking this interview question, your interviewer actually wants to get a sense of how do you respond to a conflict, because when you would be working as an employee for him, maybe there is quite a possibility that there would be conflicts around you, and how good you are at managing conflicts. So anyone who can seem very nice and pleasant in a job interview can maybe in a position to not manage conflicts around when put in that job role. So the interviewer actually wants to know that how well you are in managing conflicts. For this type of questions, again you can use the STAR method, which we have seen in the earlier question also. First is set up the situation, then tell the task which you were assigned, then what action did you take from your side, and R is what was the outcome or what was the result. So again, by using the STAR method, being sure to focus on how you handle the situation professionally and productively, and ideally choosing some incident with a very happy ending, like how you came to a resolution or compromise with your fellow colleague or with your peer group. So this is how you will deal with such questions. So as I always say, the STAR method is the best way to express yourself, to express the situation. Set up the situation, tell the task which you were given, then the action which you did, and the result or the outcome of the situation. So in this way, again, you can approach the question in a very concise manner, and then it could be very impressive also. Generally, this type of question is put up to candidates who are looking for a change or who want to change their jobs. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? If asked this question, be very honest and specific about your future goals. But consider that the hiring manager wants to know if you have set realistic expectations for your career, or whether you have an ambition, or if the position aligns with your personal goals and growth. So, when you are answering this question, don't be very idealistic in your answer. Tell something, convince them that whatever this job for which you are appearing for the interview, it actually has something to align with your personal goals and growth. So you should be very realistic in setting up the expectations, and then you also have to show that you have certain ambitions in your life, you have certain goals, and you have set the goals for the next 5 years, for a longer period of time, and this current job or the future job which you are interviewing is actually aligning with your personal goals and growth. So this could be a very tricky question, but the way you answer would actually help you there. Now the next question coming up is, what is your greatest professional achievement? Your best bet is to think realistically about where this position could take you and answer along those lines. Now this question, this answer will actually help to project a lot about your personality. It's okay to say that you are not quite sure. If you are not sure, it's okay to admit it, that what the future holds, but that you see the experience playing an important role in helping you make this decision. But otherwise, you can think realistically about this position for which you are there to give the interview, and this could take you a long way. So telling about your professional achievement is, again, you can again use the STAR method and again tell something about your previous achievements. So we now move on to the next question. What's your dream job? Now along similar lines, the interviewer wants to uncover whether this position is really in line with your ultimate career goals. So actually the hiring manager always likes candidates who have their personal ambitions, their personal career goal, and they actually like that if the position they are interviewing aligns with the candidate's personal goals. So when they ask you what's your dream job, they actually want to know what your career goals are, and does the position for which they are interviewing actually aligns with this career goals. Next would be, why are you leaving your current job? Now this is a very tough question, but they are sure to ask you if you are looking for a change. Now here, definitely keeping things positive helps you. You have nothing to gain by being negative about your past employer. Always maintain this professional etiquette of not criticizing your previous boss or your previous company or the past employer. Frame things in a way that shows that you are eager to take on new opportunities, and the role that you are interviewing for is a better fit for you than your current or last position. So instead of criticizing the last job role, the last boss or the last employer, it's always better to show them that you are excited about new opportunities and that you are looking for new growth opportunities or exposure. So this will always give a very good impression that you are maintaining good professional etiquette, because when you would be leaving this future job and going to some other place, they would never like you criticizing about them. So they would always look for candidates who actually speak very respectfully about their last jobs. Now actually managers who go for new jobs or looking for change, they actually face this question, what's your management style? Now this type of a question is a very tricky one, and you need to answer this very smartly. The best manager, you should understand, are very strong but flexible, and that's exactly what you want to show off in your answer. So say something like, while every situation and every team member requires quite a bit of different strategy, I tend to approach my employee relationships as a coach. So this could be a very common answer, but then you can frame it very differently according to what your past experiences have been. And as I always say, use the STAR method. So here again, STAR method would help you. Then share a couple of your best managerial moments, like when you grew your team from 5 to 15 or coached an underperforming employee to become the company's top salesperson. So here, instead of saying that you are very flexible or very mentor type of person, you should actually try to give examples by using the STAR method. Set up the situation, tell the task, the action you took, and the result or the outcome of the situation. That will again help you to approach this question in a better way. Now, people who are generally working at very high levels, they actually acquaint with this question. What's the time you exercise leadership? Now, again, framing this answer is a tough task. It should be very impressive. It should not only flaunt your good leadership qualities, but also you should be able to give examples, convince the hiring person that you are actually a very good leader. Now, depending on what's more important for the role, you will want to choose an example that showcases your project management skills, or one that shows your ability to confidently and effectively rally a team, how effectively you steer your team. So that is more important. Showing your project management skills here can also help you to frame the answer in a better way. And one thing we must remember here is the best stories include enough detail to be believable and memorable. Whatever stories or examples you are telling from your past experience, they should be all realistic, they should be all believable, and should be memorable for the hiring managers. Show how you were a leader in this situation and how it represents your overall leadership experience and potential. So it should not be only me. It should also tell the situation. It should also highlight the other people's skills and their skill set, their rich experience, and how you were able to motivate these people, use their skill sets and experience to drive your goals or achieve your goals. So this is how you can impress the interviewer, by showing that you are a good leader who understands that every person has a different skill set, every person has different experience, and how you can use them to achieve your company's goals. So this is how you would answer such question. Now the next question is a very tough question again. What's the time you disagreed with the decision that was made at work? Now for answering this question again, you need to be very truthful and honest, because it's okay. It's not that every time you would be agreeing what the decision of the management is. Everyone disagrees with the boss from time to time. But in asking this interview question, hiring managers actually want to know that you can do so in a productive and a professional way. It actually questions your approach towards such situations. And you don't want to tell a story about the time when you disagreed with your boss because he was not fit or unfit for that position, but you actually want to show that keeping in peace, you did something and the outcome was very good. So tell the one where your actions made a positive difference on the outcome of the situation, whether it was a work-related outcome or a more effective and productive working relationship. So you need to tell an example, tell an experience where you can actually build up the situation, but in a very realistic way, in a believable way, and a memorable way again, so that the manager or the hiring manager actually remember that when you face such situation, how well you handled it. And telling the result here is very important, that you did disagreed with the decision of the management, but then the outcome was very productive and it actually resulted into a very effective working relationship, or maybe a very related work related good outcome. Now, when you are changing your job, it's quite possible that the hiring managers can call your previous boss or co-workers and ask about you. This is quite possible. It doesn't always happen, but you should be ready to face the situation. So for questions like how would your boss and co-workers describe you, be very honest. First of all, you need to be very honest and truthful for such answers, because it is quite possible that these managers would be calling your previous boss and employee and your co-workers. Then try to pull out strengths and traits you haven't discussed in other aspects of the interview. So while answering this question, you have the benefit that during the other part of the interview, you could not have recounted or counted your other personality traits which you feel that your hiring manager should know. So through this question, you have a good opportunity to tell this type of personality traits. So such as your strong work ethic or your willingness to pitch in on other projects when needed. So through this question, you have an opportunity to tell about such qualities. But again, they should be realistic and you should be very honest in such answers. Next question would be, how do you deal with pressure or stressful situations? So for this, you again need to frame a very smart answer. Choose an answer that shows that you can meet a stressful situation head on in a productive and positive manner, and let nothing stop you from accomplishing your goals. So here you actually need to tell them that you are a very good stress manager. A great approach is to talk through your stress reduction tactics. So instead of discussing your stress, here you can actually tell them that what you do to de-stress yourself. Your stress reduction tactics, answering in such way would show them that you know that you take stress, but you also know how to de-stress yourself. And then you can share an example of a stressful situation you navigated with ease. You can tell about some previous job experience in which you had a lot of stress, but how de-stressing yourself and how you came well out from the situation, and how positive that outcome was. So you can tell such a situation. Again, you can use the star method here to tell the story or to tell your experience. But the smartness here is to show that if you get stressed, you still have good tactics to overcome the stress and produce good results. Now there are some tricky questions in an interview, like if you were an animal, which one you want to be? Now for such type of question, if you are not prepared, they actually don't want to know whether you wanted to be a horse or a tiger. Actually, this is not the motive of the question. They actually want to know that how smartly you can handle unexpected situations. So for these questions, the first best way is to smile. So by smiling, you can ease yourself and you get time to think about the question. Then ask them for some time if you need some time to think for this answer. Then you should answer very enthusiastically. Don't keep this in mind that why that interviewer is asking you such a boring question. This is just to change the mood of the interview or the situation. And then you can ask a follow-up question also for this, that if you were in my place, what would you answer? So this would be something showing your smartness at how you handle such situations. So smiling, taking some time, then answering enthusiastically, and then you can follow this with a follow-up question as well. So there could be such questions in your interview where the interviewer actually wants to change the mood of the interview and he wants to know that how well you can manage unexpected situations. So these are the tricks which you can use for answering such questions. Now sometimes they ask you some impossible brain teaser questions also. Like recently there was a question that how many tennis balls can fit in a limousine. Now you are not actually going to count or calculate how many tennis balls can fit in a limousine. Maybe that interviewer himself has never used a limousine, or he himself doesn't know the answer. But understand why the interviewer is asking you this question. It is just to check your smartness. Again, how you handle unexpected situation. So for solving such type of question, you can again impress them in a very good way. First, clarify the question. Then ask for some time. Then you can tell that how you can approach your question. Then you can also tell your assumptions about the question. Then you can break that problem in smaller parts. For all this, you can also ask a paper if you are not carrying any paper. You can take a paper. Maybe you can also do some calculations if required. And while calculating, if the answer is 5617, you can round that figure and tell 6000 as your answer. So here the interviewer is not interested in knowing the exact answer to this question. He is just checking you that when you face such an impossible or unexpected situation, how well you handle the situation. So here, going step by step, showing him that you actually are enthusiastic about working on such situations, taking a paper, doing the calculations, breaking that problem, assuming certain things will actually help to impress the interviewer. So friends, with this we come to the end of the second session on interview preparation. So we tried to cover almost 30 to 35 questions in this session, in part 1 and part 2 as well. So for cracking any job interview, I feel that 3 most important things are being confident, being prepared, and being yourself. If you are realistic, if you are honest, if you are truthful in your interview, it will give you confidence. It will help you to prepare your answers well. So before going to an interview, if you are prepared to answer such questions, half the battle is won, because these are the 30 most common questions asked in the interviews, and they are bound to be there if you go for any interview. So it depends on how well you frame your answers, depending on your own personal experience in your career. So I hope, friends, that these 2 sessions interview preparation really helped you to steer through this tough but common interview questions. Thank you so much for being with me here.